Hey, how you doing?
I think.
Good day, sir. How are you? Sir, stay cool, please.
I'm not as surprised you are. Yeah, and this heat, if y'all get turned around.
I never seen nothing like it. I was in Arizona for a meeting in 1989, for an economics meeting. And we walked out of the hotel because the drinks were $5. And they said if we go across the street to the pizza store, we could get them for $1.50 cheap first. Honey, it was 110. And when I walked in that store, panting, and the lady, I said, man, it's so hot out there, I can't hardly breathe. She said, we don't complain until it's after 122. We don't even complain. I said, well, you can have Arizona.
So who you gonna talk to about it? Where's going to? Yeah. You live out there.
I always feel weird if there are no pieces of paper that say this is where you sit. Looks like Dr. Wilson's here.
Praise the Lord.
Okay. Mr. Dino, how are you, sir? How's it going?
All right, I reckon. I smell like smoke up on cigarette smoke. Me and my granddaughter, my granddaughter went car looking.
Okay.
Timing belt broke about 5-6 weeks ago. She's been driving my car.
Okay.
I want my car back.
So you're
We found what we were looking for. Obviously, the person who had it before was smoke.
cigarettes in there.
And
Now, where was this y'all looking brand new?
no, we looked here in Rocky Mountain.
Okay.
Chapter 4.
Okay, okay.
So they're going to see if they can get the smell out of it. If they can get the smell out of it, they got to do it.
Your granddaughter at school,
No, she's done.
I'm in Carolina, right?
Yeah, she's working.
She finished Carolina. Wow.
She's working Carrie Pediatrics.
Okay.
Carrie.
Wow.
Getting married in August.
Okay.
Mr. Dino,
Yes, ma'am.
I think I'm gonna be sitting on top of you.
You want me to slide now?
Yeah, you can slide that.
All right. You kind of got in between those two things too.
What's that, Patty? Hey, Joe. Hey, how are you? Fine. How Miss Stagner? Okay.
They said, of course, you're not at the
Hey,
office.
Jewel.
I snail mailed.
Don't have 1 minute.
I bet they evidently hasn't got there. I mailed it on Wednesday on my way out of town.
I think it's just 1 minute.
No, you're fast.
I had uploaded mine last Thursday.
But that's even better.
Patricia said I just uploaded it. I didn't have it. And I said, but then I sent the link back. I said, here it is. I can see it on here. And she messaged me back. She copied it. Mine. I said,
Well, I don't mind, and I put AK on the bottom of mine.
I had to save my file.
Only because I just feel like if anybody
Not only
knows,
take care of everyone,
I'll have.
provide the therapy too.
And so that's why I put AK on.
Saved mine. I said it's like underscore JJC. She asked me today. I said, I said, that's it.
Well, and I'm gonna call tomorrow. She had called today, but I didn't look at anything because I was.
Good to see you.
Carolina hat.
When they brought
So, man, we not married that.
Somebody out there. My birthday $1,000.
I think we should do something, take them out too. It was extended. They know it's wrong. Amen.
Hey, how are you?
Yeah, right. You just circle back.
You are.
Wait a minute, we're good.
That's about the time that's me. And then what here?
Somebody got a bed there.
Are we good? All right.
Yeah, I had a brain freeze already. I want some water.
We do have a crowd.
How about you? Walking out. Rain.
Okay. Anybody want
I love one.
two?
A little one.
It's not cold, but it's wet.
That's okay. I have a cold bottle in the car I forgot to bring in.
All right. Okay. Not cold, but it's wet.
You ain't give it to him.
All these windows don't help, I'm sure.
And then, actually, I went to basketball. I turned down the street because I read the email that talked about Baskerville's camp. And I had Baskerville on my mind, so I turned down Baskerville.
None of this medicine. It may not be what that is.
Did you all go to anything? Okay.
I don't even think they know what's going on there.
Wow. So that Edgecombe.
So Ray just starts when I call to the emergency room.
Wow.
I don't think it's whatever it's not.
Y'all ready? Got to watch this stuff out so you know I got to see something.
I think this,
Okay.
Miss Stagger does the time.
Oh, yes, she does time on Thank you. You're gonna call time when 3 minutes are up.
So maybe you'll hear me bring her a little better.
Okay. All right. That's it. I got a minute.
Back that way. I was looking for it a minute ago.
You know that joke right there. Okay. I want this big bag on the table. Sit it right there. Out of the way. Out of the way. Oh, Lord. Oh, these the chairs we got to sit in. Oh, God. The chairs are. Oh. That's it. Whew.
Yes.
Good evening, everyone. All right, we're ready to rock and roll this evening. Okay, this is going to be our fun time, and hope you will enjoy sharing with us. Before we get started, we would like for everyone to stand, and we will recite our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. Before we get started, I would introduce the board and our superintendent, Dr. Andrew Bryan. Yes, ma'am. I think it's on. I'm going to try to use it. I think I was in school teaching, but that's not loud enough for you guys. Okay. Can you hear it now? Yeah. All right. Okay, Raymond, we're going to introduce ourselves and say our district.
I'm Raymond Trivet, District 6.
I'm Lily Worsley, representing District 2.
William Ellis, representing District 4.
Evelyn Wilson, District 1.
Ann Kent, District 5.
Evelyn Johnson, District 3.
Jewel Calhoun, District 7.
And I will present our attorney, Stagner, who's with us this evening. And before we get started, she is going to give an overview of this merger situation that we're facing in Edgecombe County. And I would hope that when you stand to speak, that you would give your name, what school your students attend, so we have some idea of who's at this school, D.S. Johnson.
Thank you, Dr. Wilson. I'm Deborah Stagner, attorney with Darrington Smith. I'm assisting the board in working through this redistricting. As you all may know, as a result of the county line demerger legislation that was passed by the North Carolina General Assembly, the Edgecombe County Board of Education is required to adjust its voting districts for board members to ensure that each district is substantially equal in population. The process must be completed by December 1st, 2025, so that the maps will be ready when candidate filing opens for next year's board elections in March. Since August of last year, there have been a series of informational presentations at the board's regular meetings, and the board's also had multiple work sessions about redistricting. Before any maps were prepared, the board sought public input regarding communities of interest, asking the community members to submit information about areas and communities and different parts of the county that they felt should be kept together. The board's also received public comment about the redistricting process at its board meetings, and there have been 2 previous public public information meetings where the public has been signing up to speak and give feedback. So the board originally selected guiding criteria, and then our demographer, Blake Esselstyn, developed 3 different redistricting options based on those priorities that the board submitted. One priority was to start and make as few changes as possible to the existing districts. One was to keep all districts as compact as possible. And the third priority that was listed was the communities of interest, which was based on the feedback that was received in January of this year. After reviewing these alternatives, the board came up with, or the board asked for 2 additional alternative maps to review. One of those would be based on the county commissioners' districts, and then some changes were made to that. So as a total, there have been 5 maps reviewed by the Board of Education. The board has narrowed those down to 2. All of those presentations, the guiding criteria, the draft redistricting maps have all been made available to the public and posted on the district website. And so the board's selection of 2 maps to move forward with are option C and option D2 that are being presented for further consideration and public input. And I'd ask everyone to please silence their phones if you haven't already. Thank you. So these maps have been posted online and displayed in sites around the county, and we have them here as well. So option C, again, was developed to prioritize communities of interest that were identified by members of the county. And the other map, option D2, was based on the county commission districts with changes that were requested by the board. So tonight is the 3rd of 4 community meetings that the board's holding in order to get additional input before adopting a final redistricting map. And so we'll now hear from members of the public who've signed up to speak. Dr. Wilson has that list. As a reminder, please state your name and your address before you begin, and speakers are limited to 3 minutes. So we're hoping to have everyone have a chance to speak, but get out of here at a reasonable time. And then the next community meeting will be held at 6:00 p.m. at Southwest Edgecombe High School. I'll be keeping the time, and so if you hear a ringer go off, please wrap up your comments. Thank you.
Okay, our first speaker is Susan. I tell you, that microphone's having a fit tonight. It just won't act right. Susan Perry Cole.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good evening, Madam Chairperson and members of the Board of Education. My name is Susan Perry Cole, and I reside at 251 Rose Street in Rocky Mount, which is located in the Down East community. I'm also a member of the School Demerger Community Redistricting Working Group. I speak this evening to provide feedback on the proposed draft redistricting maps before the board. Let me begin by stating on behalf of our group that option C is the best choice for respecting communities of interest in Edgecombe for school board districts, and we ask the board to vote for option C. I want to thank the board for its transparency during this redistricting process. We sincerely appreciate this operating style and hope that the transparency and information sharing continues through the rest of the process. I also want to thank you for hosting these public meetings and for posting the redistricting maps in multiple locations, including the board's redistricting website. Option C is the best choice for respecting communities of interest in Edgecombe, as identified by community input to the redistricting working group. We also thank the board for considering this matter. I want to emphasize that option C has been the resounding choice of community members present at various board meetings. Option C, as you know, was drawn with the very specific purpose of respecting communities of interest as identified by community members that live in these areas. It is very important that the board respect this input from the community and select map option C. I want to conclude by thanking the board for the opportunity to share these comments tonight. Thank you.
Okay, our next speaker is Carl Revis.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm Carl Redis. I'm from the South Rocky Mountain community, preferably known as South Acres Subdivision. I'm a retired law enforcement officer, 30 years of Rocky Mountain Police Department, and I'm running for City Councilman in Ward 3. I graduated from Edgecombe County Schools, North Edgecombe to be exact, and I am here representing the School Demerging Community Redistricting Workshop, or work group. I just want to thank each and every one of you for being transparent, like the previous speaker said, but I also want to say that thanking you for allowing me to come here and speak with you. I think it's very important of keeping communities of interest together and saying that we're trying to get option C, one option C, but we also want you to understand that I know that each and every one of you think that simple is usually get the better results. Something simple gets the better results. Frankly, we need one representative to represent a community of interest and neighborhoods. If we get more than one, there's not going to be a person who knows who's directly to go to. And again, I think it's important that we identify one person in the community as a representative. And I think it's clearly, if we identify that person, we will make this option C much more easily and identifiable. And I want to thank you again for allowing me to speak.
Okay. Thank you. I think I'm gonna talk real loud so I don't have to play seesaw. Pam West.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Thank you. I forgot there was a phone person here. Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
And fellow neighbors. My name is Pamela West, and I live in the Edgemont community. I'm at 812 Sycamore Street, very historical street. I'm an officer with the Neighborhood of Edgemont Association and also have participated with the Community Redistricting Working Group since the process has started with the school board. We made our priorities clear from the beginning that Edgemont and Meadowbrook need to stay together to respect our communities and interests. We believe that option C, again, I'll say that, we believe that option C is the best choice for respecting communities and the interests in the Edgecombe County for School Board District. And we ask the board, pleading the board, to vote for option C. We know that the board has had a task in serving the residents, about 9,800 residents into 7 newly drawn electrical districts. Under the voting rights requirements, the board has to ensure that the Black voters population is not diluted or overconcentrated. The board must understand and feel the need of these communities. Edgecombe is a beautiful county. Edgemont, Meadowbrook is home. I'm a senior. Can't read all this because I feel it right here. And we know, and that you know, Miss West, I'm a fighter for the good and for unity. And I'm asking you, keep us together. Let us work with you as you have worked for us here and continue. Thank you for taking the time. God bless you.
Thank you. Okay, our next speaker is Sharon A. Evans.
I'm not able to get up as far as getting the mic. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much. My name is Sharon Evans. I live at 1512 Barnes Street in the Hillsdale community. And my precinct is 12-4. Thanks for the opportunity to express our concerns for our children in Edgecombe County. Asking you, the Edgecombe School Board, to select option C. Option C was drawn with the very specific purpose of respecting communities of interest by community members that live in these communities. The annex part of Rocky Mount includes 5 precincts. I'm in precinct 12-4. Currently, no one from these areas are represented. We want Edgecombe County to be successful. Therefore, representation is needed at the table from every area of Edgecombe County. Map C provides fair and effective representation for our communities. Please select option C. Thank you.
Tamisha Patterson. Excuse me.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Madam Chair, President, and school board members. I am Tamisha Patterson. I reside at 1012 Birch Street here in Rocky Mount. I am the president of Southeast Rocky Mount Community Organization, which is in the southeast part of Edgecombe County. I am also an entrepreneur as an early childhood provider in the Edgecombe County community. I've been participating and working with the community redistricting working group since the process started with the school board and have spoken with you at many other meetings. We made our priorities clear from the beginning that Southeast Rocky Mount, Berkshire, Brownview, and Cokie Swamp communities need to stay together to respect our communities of interest. We believe that option C is the best choice for communities of interest in Edgecombe County. And we ask the board to vote for option C. Option D2 divides precinct 12-2, which I reside, and that the residents of Berkshire, Brown Acres, and Cokie Swamp neighborhoods are cut off from Southeast Rocky Mount. This was the old division line for the Nash Rocky Mount system and Edgecombe County system. By comparison, option C keeps almost all of the precincts in 12-2 together. By comparison, option C keeps almost all of the precincts 12-2 in District 7, keeping those communities of interest together across the old school system dividing line that we are now trying to erase. Please move us forward in fairness with map option C. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Next speaker, Alicia Johnson.
Those of us who have been following and attending the board meeting. Oh, that's the. Yeah. Y'all didn't tell my mom ain't big enough. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Those of us who have been following and attending the board meeting since the demerger want to thank you for your transparency and for your listening to our concerns. My name is Alicia Johnson. I am the Chair of Board of Directors for the Historic Edgemont Community. I have come to several meetings. This is my second time appearing before you. So again, I thank you. When half of the city of Rocky Mount was redistricted and the school demerged, the board was tasked with trying to absorb 9,800 residents and approximately 1,700 school children. Simultaneously, 7 new ectorial lines were drawn to ensure that an over concentration or saturation nor a dilution of the Black voting population would occur. It's a daunting task. We understand that. As a member of the School Demerger Community Redistricting Working Group, I have carefully looked at all the map options for Edgemont and Melrose. The largest communities of interest in this process. And I agree with the assessment that map C is shown to be the best option all around. It not only keeps most of the precincts 12-1 in District 5 together, but it does not oversaturate nor does it dilute the Black voting population, which is the main concern. Being a former teacher and a former coach, I probably coach some of y'all kids. My most thing is the children, but right now that's the second most important thing. But the first and most important thing is keeping that voting block together so that we will have representation in our neighborhoods and our communities. We don't want to be separated. We want to be put together so that we don't have to go through a whole process of trying to explain to our constituents at our community association meetings when now you got to vote over here because you can't vote over here any longer, and why we have to do that. I don't want to have to explain it. So we think that option C is the best option for all around, for everyone that is concerned. And we put before you, we would like you to represent us with option C. I know my time.
Thank you. Next speaker, Barbara B. Brown. Good evening.
My name is Barbara Brown. I'm with the School Merger Community Redistricting Working Group. I'm from the medical community. We believe option C is the best choice for respective communities' interests in Edgecombe County for the school districts, and we ask the board to vote for option C. Option C has been the resounding choice of community members present at board meetings. It is also identified as the community map of choice in an April 2025 letter to the board from the community members at the public hearings and school board meetings. We do ask that you support option C.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Our next speaker is Helen Hines Hunter.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
I misunderstood. I thought I was signing the list to show attendance that I was here tonight. But since I'm up here, I am Helen Hines Hunter. I reside 1113 Stokes Street, the Mayview community. I live directly across from Baskerville School, 1 block from Parker, and just a couple of blocks from the Early Childhood Center and Johnson School. And as a product of the Edgecombe County Schools, having graduated when Phillips was a high school, I graduated from Phillips High School. And I want what's best for the children in Edgecombe County. Most of the residents are looking at option C. If option C is the best for our students, then that's what we want. Because we want what's best for the children in Edgecombe County. Amen. And I receive the best, and I want our children to receive the best. So, as a person who misunderstood, I hope you understand that I am for option C, and I am for what's best for the children in Edgecombe County.
We might have someone else to say the same thing. Someone asked me, do we just sign in? And I happened to be standing there, and I said, no. If you want to speak, they said, oh, no, I don't know. I don't know who it was. Okay. Our next speaker is Doris Jean Bates. You can see.
I live right down the street here on Walton Circle. But I graduated from Phillips High School, and as of June the 5th of this year, it made 54 years since I had graduated. So I'm here to Go ahead. Thank you.
Okay. What's that?
It's like Gloria.
It looks like Gloria. Okay. See, I told you it was somebody else, but okay, next person. Gloria Davis.
I didn't know I was Greetings to all. I am Gloria Davis, and I'm School Emerging Community Redistricting Working Group. I am the president of the Meadowbrook Neighborhood Association, and I live at 1812 Lynn Avenue. We, as the Emerging Community Redistricting Working Group, believe the option C is the best choice for representing communities of interest in Edgecombe County for the school board districts, and we ask the board to vote for option C. Map option C in District 5 keeps most of the precinct 12-1 together, the largest precinct in Edgecombe County, all Meadowbrook and Edgemont. District 3 in option D2 breaks up a few important communities of interest. Precinct 12-1, the Edgemont and Meadowbrook communities in Rocky Mount are divided in the largest precinct in Edgecombe County. Precinct 12-1 votes at Johnson Elementary, and Precinct 12-2, which votes at Edgecombe Community College. District 3 cuts off the Berkshire community and the Brownview community in District 7. So please consider also the other issues that may come about when you divide a community. We're talking about social issues as well. So dividing communities, dividing anything and not making it cohesive causes issues. So there are other things to look at that may cause issues for the communities and the people of the community. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Kathy Moore.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Kathy Moore, and I am a lifelong resident of the Brooks community in Precinct 6-1. Proud graduate of North Edgecombe High School in the year of 1976, and the mother of 2 NEHS students graduating as well in 97 and 2011. I also serve as the chief judge for Precinct 6-1 I am a member of the Community Empowerment Alliance, as well as a member of the School Demerging Community Redistricting Working Group. That's a mouthful. We strongly believe that option C is the most fair and community-focused choice for redrawing school board districts in Edgecombe County. It honors and protects our communities of interest, particularly in the northern part of the county. Not over here in Rocky Mount, but we're still one. Map option C's District 2 keeps the Battleboro, Whitakers, and Leggett communities together, preserving not only historical connections, but also our shared experiences, values, and priorities. These communities have common interests in education, economic opportunity, transportation, public service, and public services. We attend the same schools. We worship together, support the same local businesses, and rely on one another for community strength and resilience. Option C also keeps precincts 5-1 and 6-1 fully intact, which is essential for maintaining strong voter engagement, neighborhood advocacy, and educational continuity. Splitting these areas would weaken the voice of residents who already face challenges in being heard. This is about more than just lines on a map. It's about respecting the bonds that hold our communities together, the deep ties that foster collaboration, civic participation, and support for our children and our schools. Option C has received clear and consistent public support in letters, public comments, and attendance at your board meetings. I thank the board for giving us transparency. I thank the board for giving us an opportunity to be heard. Option C was named the community's preferred map in the April 2025 letter to the board, and that support has only grown stronger. I respectfully urge the board to honor the will of the people and the integrity of our communities. Thank you again.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you, Kathy.
Yes.
Our next speaker, Richard Hadaway.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Richard Padway. I live at 400 East Thomas Street. I've lived there for over 30 years. My children went to school here. My grandchildren are still going to school here. I am the precinct chair for 12-5, and we stand with option C, or the School Demerging Community District Working Group, and the neighborhood community. Option C is the best choice for respecting community input to the redistricting working group. And we thank you, the board, for considering this map. Option C provides a very fair percentage of the black voting age population across the district, avoiding the high numbers of black population in D2, which is 89.5% for District 1 and 82.4% for District 3. Option C keeps the community together. It is crucial for community and the representation for our students. D2 are more complicated to describe than map C. Keeping the community together is important. We can't overemphasize that enough, that it is important for each and every one to get an input to what our students need. When the disciples asked Jesus, when did we do these things? Jesus replied, when you fed the hungry, when you clothed the naked, when you helped the blind, when you gave water to the thirsty, you have done it unto me. Let us show love to our community, school, and to each other. Choose this day the right choice by choosing option C. Thank you for your listening ear.
Thank you. All right, our next speaker is Venetia Rushing.
Good evening to all present, to the Edgecombe County Board of Education, Madam Chairwoman, Dr. Evelyn Wilson, D.S. Johnson Administration, and staff. Thank you for hosting this public meeting and listening to the concerns of the affected communities. My name is Venetia Moore Rushing. I live at 1705 Augustus Drive. I am a retired educator, having served the parents and children of North Carolina for over 35 years. During that time, I've seen a lot of change, some good and some not so good. But every time, the people making the decisions always say, we want what's best for our students. Now, if that were true in this case, this redistricting plan, you cannot, will not consider option D2. Not when option D2 seems to be a little self-serving, created only to protect certain incumbent members of the board while destroying identified communities. These communities are made of real working families whose children deserve worthwhile and rewarding experiences. As a teacher who identified and fought for gifted children in this very school, Baskerville. Also, D.S. Johnson here, also at Baskerville and the once Braswell Elementary. It really bothers me when people disregard the trauma that they create by shuffling children around as if they're cans of tomato soup or something. And then say, children are resilient. They're smart. They'll be okay. They'll get it. I'm here to tell you that's not always the case. These families deserve to be listened to, not just heard. There's a difference in listening and hearing. We are quick to say it takes a village to raise a child. We know that to be true. It does take community, relationship, and working together. Then I employ you. Keep this village whole. I want to show you something. D2. Let's put D2 where it belongs.
All right now.
And vote for option C. Thank you.
All right now.
Okay. Our next speaker is Teresa Austin Stokes.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Thank you all for coming together after this hot, smoldering day to attend to this very important meeting. We thank you all for taking time out of your busy schedules. This is not something that we take lightly. My name is Teresa Austin Stokes. I live at 132 South Mooring Avenue in Edgecombe County. I just want to say, for starters, let's focus on the children. This group has been working tirelessly, not just got together recently. They've been here from the beginning, advocating for MAP C, consistently advocating for MAP C. This is not something they did their research, and MAP C is what we want you all to concentrate on. Why? The districts in option C are easy to describe to the community due to the number of the whole or mostly whole precincts. Whole precincts and mostly whole precincts makes it easier for voting and running for office because it does affect our voting as well. Districts also easy to describe when you're talking to the residents about where their boundaries are when it comes to voting. Example, in District 1 at Rocky Mount, it has 2 whole precincts and almost all of 12-5 and all of 12-4 with the East Raleigh Boulevard and Business 64 as a southern boundary. If we're trying to do what's important for the children, now is the time. I ask that you respect the wishes of the people. Respect the wishes of the people who will be impacted the most. Thank you for taking time to listen, but as Ms. Russian say, just don't listen. Hear wholeheartedly what is being said. And when you get ready to decide on whether to choose MAP C or MAP D, please, we ask you, remember, hear the cries of the people. Choose MAP C, MAP C, MAP C. Thank you so much.
Hey, thank you, Tracy. Our next speaker, Mrs. Natalie O'Reed. Oh, there she is.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Thank you, board, for coming to Rocky Mount. As I said earlier in a meeting in Tarboro, Rocky Mount matters.
Yeah.
And we have come to display our preference for a map that we feel will represent the whole county, not just Rocky Mount. We're not trying to be selfish. We just want to be included.
That's right.
My address is 1713 Beverly Road. I live around the corner, but I haven't cooked, so can't come by today. I worked here at D.S. Johnson School for a while. I worked at Parker School. Then I went to work for myself because you had too many children. Okay. And MAP C looks to be a better fit for the whole county, not just for Rocky Mount. We're not trying to be selfish. We're trying to be included. How many times do I have to say that? So looking at D2, it does not align with the purpose of drawing MAP D because it moves further away from the current commissioner districts that were configured in MAP D and does not clearly demonstrate a benefit to the children. Okay? To the children, we got to keep our focus. If you want to represent us, please consider MAP C. Thank you.
All right, Ms. O'Reed, thank you. Okay, our next speaker is Bronson Williams.
I want to say good afternoon to each and every one of you. Again, thank you for coming out to the meeting on tonight. And I see so many people in the audience. The participation at this meeting is phenomenal. And understanding that people have impact. Each person knows 20 or 30 people who are going to be voting in the upcoming elections. One thing is great about Edgecombe County compared to the county that was in the merger process is Nash County doesn't have the ability to draw their maps. Edgecombe County still has that ability. And that is something that I'm happy to still do, that the county commissioners didn't argue that point. And as we see throughout this building on today, it's a no-brainer that option C is the best choice for the residents of Edgecombe County. It is the best choice for a number of reasons you heard on today, including keeping communities together. One thing that was said about the demerger process or merger process or whatever word we're using in that it was about bringing the children home and keeping the children unified. That same conversation I heard through the Edgecombe County School Board, from the Edgecombe County Commissioners as well. It was about unity. And so that is exactly what option 3 does, continues to unify communities in Edgecombe County so that people will go out and not have their voice diluted in the voting process. So I'd encourage every board member to vote for option C when you vote on it, and understand that these great people that's in this audience today are coming out to vote for somebody in that process as well. It's so important. And one thing I will say, I remember one person saying, making the main thing our main thing, which are our children. And so our children should be at the forefront of everything that we do and having the best representation. That means giving people in areas that they didn't have before. Right now, Edgecombe County has about 9,000 people that has zero representation. At this moment, that's really why we're here today. And so we are fixing that situation and giving voices to people who are currently voices right now. But I understand from looking at all these beautiful smiles today, that Rocky Mountain and other people in Edgecombe County certainly will use their voice and they will use their vote. Thank you so much for option C.
All right, thank you. Okay, our next speaker is Naylene Richardson.
I walk pretty fast, everybody. I'm a retired nurse. I walk fast. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Nellene Richardson, and right now I reside at 720 Braygate, but I am moving. My address will be 1400 Planter Street. I own several properties in Rocky Mount. I am the second chair of the Democratic Party of Edgecombe County. I am an evangelist. I am also an activist in Edgecombe County and has been so since 1984 when I moved here from Washington, D.C. I've raised my kids here in Rocky Mount. Also, I have a granddaughter that I'm raising that goes to North Edgecombe High School that graduates this year coming. And so I stand to talk about option District 3 and option D2 and how it kind of slithers like a snake throughout the counties. And in my research and really looking at this, what I found out was the cons for this for D2 is that the population is inequality. The quality, the amount of people found to be in proportion to the other districts is not even. D2 has a smaller proportion of people. And in our in the population, in the county's population, on the 2020 population says that District 3, alongside with District 1, 4, and 7, would not have substantial equal population compared to the other districts. This imbalance would require a redrawing of the lines to ensure fair representation and equal populations distribution across all districts. Because what would happen is that our voting would not be equal at all. And there's a potential for our board to not be able to vote properly because it would be so imbalanced, because no one person would be in those districts. And in District 2, it would have more than one person. And that is not good. Okay. But I just want to thank y'all, and I have all the information and statistics that I can give.
Thank you, Ms. Reese. All right, our next speaker, Mr. James Wren.
Good evening, board. Thank you for this hearing, and thank you for the process of this redistricting, which has been very open and very positive. My name is James Wren, 704 NC 97 Eastern Leggett, Precinct 51 Chair and Vice President of Community Power Alliance, and part of this working group. I've resided in Edgecombe County for over 45 years. The first portion of those years I lived here in the city of Rocky Mount in this neighborhood. I'm very familiar with the long struggle of Edgecombe citizens for voting rights and representation in decision-making for public education with students. For a year, ever since desegregation of schools in the 70s, we know Nash County has manipulated the politics of railroad track county line to disadvantage Edgecombe residents and students. I worked with Naomi Green when she ran for Rocky Mount City Council in 1981, and this was the issue that she raised back then for county line merger. Naomi Green was a valiant warrior for voting rights and public education of African Americans in Rocky Mount, Edgecombe County, and we're here today to carry forward her mission to redistrict task before us. The board is tasked to redistrict 9,800 residents of Rocky Mount into 7 newly drawn districts of Edgecombe County where the black voting population is fairly distributed while not pairing incumbents in the same district. Now, this is a challenge when 4 incumbents have Tarboro addresses. We have to keep the people's voting rights and the welfare of our students primary. Map C keeps 3 main Rocky Mount Edgecombe communities and enters together and puts them in 3 different school board districts, so the impact of their 9,800 voices is fairly distributed into the school board election districts. Map D2 splits up these communities in Rocky Mount. Further, in the north end of the county where I live now, Map C keeps Brattleboro, Whitakers, and Leggett together, but Map D2 splits Leggett off from Brattleboro and Whitakers. Let's complete this long struggle to do school desegregation and voting rights here in Rocky Mount and Edgecombe County by choosing Map C.
Okay, our next speaker is Roy Gray.
Good evening, Madam Chair.
Good evening.
Board members, Dr. Bryant. I'm Roy Gray. I live at 611 East Johnston Street in Tarboro. I come to let you know that all of Edgecombe County is coming together to make sure that option C is very much considered. And we ask that you take this under much consideration. I learned a new word in this process, and we've been working on it for quite some time. And it talks about community of interest. And with that community of interest, I want to talk about voter simplicity. For the past 20 years, I have worked with the Edgecombe County Board of Election. Whenever we had an early voting, I worked the Rocky Mount voting location and as a site manager. And one of the things my responsibility is to make the ballot as simply as possible. And a lot of times, voters came to vote from the same neighborhood, and it found out that that person was no longer on their ballot. And I hope that we do not travel that same road again. So this community of interest not only benefit Rocky Mount, not only benefit Leggett and Brattleboro, but benefit Tarboro and Pine Top, because all of those parts of Edgecombe County will be in one. Mr. Revich talked about one person representing one community. And with option C, we will have one person representing one community. And what that provides for is that people can talk about their school board member, and they can go to their school board member, and that school board member represent every member of that particular community. And so I will hope that you will take that under consideration. Voter simplicity. Keep it as simple as possible. If can, and when you can't do what's right, vote for option C.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Gray. Okay, our next speaker is Angela R. Bryant.
Good evening, board members and staff and attorneys. My name is Angela Bryan, 717 West End Street, Rocky Mount, North Carolina. You all know me well, having worked with the school demerger redistricting working group from the beginning of the school demerger process, and most recently in terms of this redistricting process. I want to make a few key points about option C, or to reiterate them. And the fact is of how easy it will be to describe to people. In fact, we've all been complaining about community engagement and parent engagement and participation. But for option C, we can tell people here in Rocky Mount, if you live north of East Raleigh Boulevard, you're in District 1. If you're in Precinct 12-1, you're in District 5. If you're in Southeast Rocky Mount and those adjoining communities, you're in District 7. They're easy description, and even the boundaries are pretty distinct and easy to make people aware of. An option in front of you shows you what D2 does to this section of the community we're in right now. How it splits, slices and dices, and splits up and chops off these communities, and for what purpose? Only for the purpose of saturating and squeezing the Black Rocky Mount community into two districts that are 80% to 90% Black. And you know the math of that. What does that mean? It then means surrounding districts will have fewer Black people in them. So you're creating these 89% Black districts, and then District 7 goes from 51% Black in option C to 39% Black. District 5 goes from 75% Black in option C to 55 or something percent Black in D2. And so it is, we have to think about what that means for the community when we're saying we want community and parent engagement. Are we doing all we really can do in respect of community? And so we want to ask you to keep that in mind. We know that you have a task in front of you. And we're asking you to put your own interests, put the community's interests before your own interests. And we know you have that to do along with many other tasks in this decision, and that is hard. But we ask you to please select option C.
Thank you, Miss Angela. Okay, our next speaker is Cynthia Bynum. Is that another one? All right, Cynthia. We understand if you keep your seat. I told you there were 2 or 3 people that said to me, said, oh my goodness, that's cool. All right, we do have some more speakers. Linda Joyner.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
My name is Linda Joyner. I'm from up 64 Princeville, North Carolina, 501 Mullen Street. I am very, very much interested in option C. I've listened at everything that everyone has said. I just want to say ditto. I think that when you hear that many voices say the same thing, something has to be right about it. And we believe that you guys want to do what's right. I believe you guys want to hear our voices. I believe you guys want us to be together. There is unity and there is strength in unity. I also serve on a board called Get Edgecombe Off the List. And I believe that one of the ways that we can do that, we can get Edgecombe off the list, is being together, having one voice, saying the same thing, but first and foremost, making sure that our youth, our children are taken care of. I have some students, I work at the OIC, and I have students there. I manage a Youth Connect program. And I ask the youth, since they're not represented here this evening, what would you want me to say when I go there? And I kind of explained to them a little bit about what's going on. And I said to them, do you want to be divided or do you want to be together? I did a poll. I said, how many of you live in Edgecombe County? Some of them didn't know. How many of you live in Nash County? Some of them didn't know. I saw that as being a divide right there. If we're going to strengthen Edgecombe County, we need to speak the same language. We need to say the same thing. If we're going to strengthen Nash County, we need to speak the same language. We need to say the same thing. But one thing I do know for sure, if we do it together, if you vote for option C, I believe we can make a difference in Edgecombe County and in Nash County. God bless you and thank you so much for your time.
Okay. Our next speaker is Takesha Jones.
I no longer have to speak.
Okay. That completes our list. Yes. We had 21 speakers.
Madam Chair, I speak on behalf of Rocky Mountain City Council.
Yes. Three minutes.
3 minutes, thank you. First of all, Madam Chair, Dr. Bryan, our superintendent, staff, board, thank you for not just representing Rocky Mountain, but all of Edgecombe County is in this building. Thank you. I speak on behalf of our city council, council member Andre Knight, Ruben Blackwell, that represent the Edgecombe side of Rocky Mount City Council. We have consented with our council and we have looked at this very diligently and we have experienced going through merger and we have recognized that and seeing how our citizens come together to present to us what is the best option. And we experience this in our city council redistricting, but now to experience it across Edgecombe County, that the whole county has been united. And I want to say to you, and I'm 1821 Duncan Drive, pastoring in Canita. I feel like I've lived all over Edgecombe County. But I want to say to you, Madam Chair, board, please hear, listen, the representation of this county. And our city council has firmly supported option C as the best. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Joyner. We will not have other speakers whose name is not on the list. I had to yield to Reverend Joyner because he calls me at 4 a.m. and prays. So I didn't want him to call me in the morning. So I let him have his 3 minutes.
All right, go ahead.
I certainly appreciate all of you coming out. There are very few people that I look at in the audience and don't know anything about them. I've been around a little while. Even some of your children, we had the great opportunity to work. And what we will say is we have one more meeting, and that is June 30th, 6:00 p.m. at Southwest Edgecombe High School. So if you didn't get all what you wanted to say in your 3 minutes tonight, you got 3 more minutes. Thank you so much. Cool off, stay safe, and stay cool. We certainly appreciate each person here tonight. Thank you.
I didn't count.
I would say, I told you how many speakers we had. There were 75 chairs there. So 75.
We need your vote. Going great. Going great. We need your vote. Thank you for your work. Thanks for your participation. With that,
So we do need everyone to make sure in the board to vote for option C. Thank you. Thank you. I was real nervous. Yeah. I had wrote down about secondary the first one, and they said no. But that's what they do. And gave us a small.